I usually have a lot of projects up in the air, waiting for parts, getting stumped, and trying to think of something in the background while I work on something else. So when I make videos about something and then say I'm going to do a follow-up and take forever to do that, it's not because I don't want to do that video, it's just something that's going to take me time to get back to. But today, we're going to get back to this. The Casio CQ-1. Released in 1976, the Casio CQ-1 is a 4-function calculator, clock, calendar, and stopwatch. And it has an 8-digit vacuum fluorescent display. Now I think this is a very pretty calculator, which isn't too surprising, because that's something Casio was quite good at in the 70s. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to show this calculator running yet, and that's because, well, it does not work. I was sent this in by a viewer who was hoping that I would be able to get it running, and that's what I'm going to try and do today. Now, the first time I showed this in the mail video that I opened it on, I didn't have the correct batteries for the backup, so I wasn't 100% sure that it would actually work without those, but turns out that wasn't the problem. So there is something actually wrong with this, which does seem to be common. I've seen several other instances of this calculator not functioning as well, so I think there's something that just goes wrong with these. Now, when I got this in the mail video, I tried to open it and troubleshoot it initially to see if I could figure out anything was wrong, and unfortunately I couldn't easily find anything in particular that was suspect other than this diode. Now, I didn't cover what I did here in the mail video, but let me briefly explain it. This diode was originally on the other side, and it's right underneath the display, and I'll show you when I take it out, but the diode here was shorted, so I was thinking perhaps it had been blown and was shorted across, but it turns out it's not. The two sides of this diode are actually connected to the speaker, which is shorted because that's how a speaker works. So I have tried to work on this already, but that was as far as I got, and that didn't change anything. All right, and as I get it open and look in here, we can see that right down in here, there's kind of a missing point, and that's where that diode was. Yeah, that was a total pain to remove there, so that's why I didn't bother doing it on camera. But yeah, now we can see in here, so it's time to start trying to diagnose this thing. Okay, so the first thing I want to test here is whether or not power from the battery is even getting into this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and install that now, and then I'm going to use my multimeter here to check whether or not the voltage is getting into the calculator. So let's just test here and here. Yep, I get 1.3, but now I want to make sure that I'm actually getting that on ground. So I wonder where ground is on here. It's not that one. It's not that one. How about that? That's big and wide. Nope. Nope. Gotta have it coming in from somewhere. So where does it go? Interesting. Let me track down where that side goes to on the circuit board. So it's actually connected to the other board that's mostly used for holding the buttons in and reading the data off of those, and connects to the actual... No, it doesn't connect to the display. The display is actually on here, and that's what this row is for. The display is just, it's really hung in there in a very awkward way. So anyway, let me figure out where that finally attaches to here. Okay, it just goes from here to here. And if I switch it over to voltage, we can see that I do get a reading from the battery. Oh, come on. You were just working. There we go. 1.2 volts. I do get a reading from the battery, but it's kind of spotty. So this side's still a bit dirty. If I move it down there, yeah, it gets into a cleaner area. But that connection, that's pretty bad. Maybe I should just try cleaning that and see what happens. Yeah, that is not good looking. Let's give that a bit of a scrub. It's looking better. Yeah, it's really dirty. This is just going to take some effort. All right, there we go. Now I've got that battery terminal looking a lot better. I almost think it's brass because it looks like it was tarnished. I ended up taking a wire brush to it and just scraping it with that, and that did a lot more than scrubbing it with a toothbrush and CLR did. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Brass would be a very weird choice, but maybe? I don't know. Let's see if that helped at all. Well, unfortunately, that's not any better. One difference is now, I don't hear the speaker when I rotate the battery. So, I think power is getting through to the rest of the board normally now. So, we can start to try and track down where the issue is on here. Okay, so I've been digging around for a bit in here, and I've got a pretty good lead on what the problem is. So, first of all, I want to show you that I have my really noisy old power supply connected here, and it's connected to here, which runs down to here. And that does trace around the board to a few places. But one interesting thing is that the ground input from the battery isn't actually connected to any of the chips or the really important components. So what's going on here is that this inverter circuit is actually acting as a voltage regulator that powers everything else. So the ground from the battery isn't directly connected to the important stuff, like the negative rails on the capacitor, not connected to battery ground. So the ground doesn't directly get through here. Now, one of the problems I was having is that I can't actually get a voltage reference to anything, and when I do turn something on, or when I do turn it on, I should say, the voltage starts to slowly drift one way towards ground. So something isn't quite right, which means that it's probably in the voltage regulator circuit. And I'm pretty sure I found the problem. It's actually very identifiable. We can see this bent over capacitor on the voltage regulator circuit here, and if we pry that up, yeah, that transistor doesn't really look too good there. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure something went wrong with that thing at some point, and we're not getting a proper voltage generation now. So it looks like I could probably replace this part and have this thing back up and running, which, great. I really want to do that. The only problem I have is getting my hands on a replacement for that. Now, I like to usually do these videos in as short of time as possible, and, well, I could try and possibly order that one online. It doesn't look like it's a part that's continuing to be made. I could trace down an equivalent, yada yada. But I do have this on hand, an S8550. Now, these are both 20 volt, 700 milliamp transistors, PNP. So, this should be a pretty equivalent drop-in replacement. There's just one problem. You can see here, this has the pinout listed, emitter, collector, base. Well, this is emitter, base, collector. So, I'm going to have to switch these two pins over here to be able to get this one to fit in there. And it gets even more fun because this separate board here, there's no way to get to the bottom of the components on here. I'll have to remove this whole thing to be able to get this out. So, yay. Whew, alright, it's out, finally. Man, that was not easy. It's almost like they didn't think anyone was ever going to bother trying to repair one of these. Now, little note here. Don't be surprised if one day the blue ESD mat disappears. You see how cloudy and terrible the image looks right where the transistor is? Well, watch this. Bam! All I did was put black under it and it looks better! Yeah, the blue ESD mat kind of reflects a lot of light up into the camera and causes issues. I can make it a little better too. I can block a little more light. Yeah, so yeah, who would have guessed that a bright reflective surface isn't the best thing to film off of? Now that it's loose, we can really see that it's definitely toast. That leg is all crusty and black, and it looks like there's a crack here that runs up along the case of the package. So, yeah, that thing, it had a catastrophic failure. Hopefully I am going to be able to replace it without too much difficulty, but we'll have to see how that goes. Okay, there we go. One dead transistor. It's, yeah. Let's see how this goes. Trying to replace it. I'm really, hoping. This would definitely be the fun way to get the wrong pinout of transistor to fit in there. Not the best way, though, but the fun way. This is the much more boring, practical way to do it, though, and I should probably just go ahead and leave it like that. Alright, all that's left to do is just to put that back in there. It's going to be pretty boring. You've basically already seen me do that, so let's just go ahead and skip to the next part. Alright, I pretty much put it all back together because I remember when I did the mail video, someone told me you needed these batteries in here for it to turn on, and there's no way to really conveniently hold those in there. So, let's see what happens. Okay. That's really disappointing. You know, it's even more disappointing. Oh, there was something. What was that? Oh, we have something. Oh, I think the battery terminals are still kind of dirty. Maybe the coin cell ones are. That looks to be functioning. Maybe. Time. I don't know how to use this. Okay. Comp. So maybe that's the computer. 1 plus 2 equals... We just calculated on a CQ-1. Okay, so clearly this thing's at least partially functional now. All right. Set. Man, I don't know how to do anything on here now. 1, 2 plus 3 equal. No, okay, so time lap. I don't know. What would stopwatch be? How would I do that? ST. I don't know what this is. Oop, that did some clear. Okay. Those don't do anything. Time. Let's see what time does. Time doesn't want to do anything. Okay, well, there was no guarantees that that blown transistor was the only problem on here. Whoa. Oh, haha. So what did I do? I pressed equals? Off. Equals. Okay. Getting closer. That looks like minutes, seconds, milliseconds-ish, you know, sub-seconds. None of those are doing anything. Come on. Work equals, okay. So, clear. One of these has to do something, period, 01. So maybe these buttons aren't working right now. I think I need a manual, really. Okay, so my first instincts were right here. It's the buttons, so I can press time really hard, and then it will start the stopwatch. Oh, this thing's really sweet. Now, I can also go to set and set the time. So if I want to set it to the current date, which is December 27th, 2018, 1-8-1-2-2-7, and it now has the date, and now I can set the time. The current time is 9:40 a.m. 9:40. Bam. And then I believe it's plus time. There we go. Now, I don't know quite how you... there we go. 9:40 on the 27th. I don't know how I show the date, but sweet. Okay, so compute time. How do I see the date or set an alarm? Maybe I gotta press real hard to set an alarm. No, that's... Well, hold on here. Holding that. No. I think I need to get back into here and clean these out. Ugh, it's oh so convenient to get to all those buttons in there. I gotta take out every single one of them screws. Ugh. Actually, got into this calculator this deep last time. I just didn't show it all on video. Like I said in the mail video, well, I had the little thing on screen. Had a lot of false leads on here the first time around. I'm so happy this thing's working. This is nice. Yeah. That makes me really happy. Okay. So how is this left out? It's been a while. Alright, there we go. Oh, they're just carbon pads. That's not good. It's not like a whole lot I can do about carbon pads not working. Huh. We have like some secret buttons down here? Actually, hold on. Those are super weird. Are these all connected? How does this work? Hold on. These aren't interleaved like your usual carbon pad buttons. They're just solid pads. And they're all connected even. Huh. These look like just carbon grids. I have never seen that before. That's super strange. Wow, I didn't notice that last time I was in here. Well, obviously. Huh, okay. Well, that means there's got to be something like connected down to the bottom here. Is it how does that work? So, okay, there's an open pad there, okay. All right. So, then there should be some here, there, and there. All right, so there's mini pads. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, so these are the touch points that make up like one row or column, and then that's that whole thing. Jeez, they really wanted to save I/O on this thing. But yeah, except for these buttons, each one of those gets their own. Oh man, all right, so maybe I should try pencil eraser on those, because I bet those are the failure point. Those are rubbing constantly. Or I could just try adding graphite from a pencil on there. Yeah, that's different. I've never seen matrixed carbon pads matrixed in the carbon. Huh. Now, unfortunately, this thing's a massive pain to put back together because it has little plastic tabs all over the case, and that's how it goes together and comes apart. And I know eventually if I keep trying to open this thing and put it back together, they're gonna break, and then it won't go back together right. It does have one screw that holds it together, but that's almost token. I don't even know why it's there. That could be that holds it way less than any of the tabs do. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do all of the procedures I can think of on here to try and resuscitate this all at once, and then just hope that that was enough, because I don't want to keep trying to open this up and put it back together and eventually get it to work. So let's just do it all right now. Number buttons felt fine, but I'm just going to go ahead and be sure about this. Oops. I guess there's no reason not to take that off, but okay. Let's try getting a little carbon on here, or graphite. Aid in the conductivity. Alright, since these ones really kind of felt fine overall, I'm not going to do these ones too much. Let's just stick with that and see how that goes. Alright, I've got it all buttoned up now after cleaning off the contacts for that. I can set it to stopwatch, give that a press, not too hard, and it works. Now, one thing I find confusing is this says start-stop, that says lap. That does not lap, that starts and stops it. And it's not that these are somehow shorted and doing the same thing. If I turn it off, set it back to that, I can hit lap, and then it does that, which is different, but then it continues going on. So I don't really know. But hey, it's working. And I can go back over to calculate, or compute, 12 times 3 equals 36, and it's working just fine. So this is clearly a successful repair, which is just awesome. Now, I will say there is still one further problem. I don't know how I got it to turn on, but I got the alarm to turn on, and the speaker output is extremely weak. But that could be my fault after I messed with that diode in there, and I'll live without the alarm. That's not a big deal. It's, if anything, that's just going to be less annoying. Maybe it might have an alarm that goes off when the batteries get low. But yeah, for now, it's working, and this was a very satisfying repair. It's been really driving me nuts seeing this sit on my shelf in the background of stuff and just not working. I'm sorry it took me this long to get to it. I'm just kind of having a problem getting to the mail videos. I usually do my videos when I get something new that's really exciting, and when I get all this mail stuff in at once, it's really hard to pick what to do. And then while I'm sitting there thinking, I should do this, I should do that, I usually get something else that's not mail, and then if I do that, I'm not putting preference over one mail item over another. So I'm sorry. I'm going to try and get to do the mail stuff more. It's just, I also want to do other stuff that I'd get in. So like the next thing's definitely not going to be a mail video, but I'm pretty sure you guys will be okay with that. Well, I hope this was enjoyable, and maybe you guys learned something, especially about replacing transistors. That was kind of fun. All I did was bend the legs around, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.